G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on Himiyama to watch some Conqueror 3s take each other on in the lead up to EGC TV's new event that is happening. I love this map. Reminds me a little bit of Prairie in a way. You've kind of sitting up raised upon this little hill. You can see there's quite a bit of terrain that's got going on right here. And the same thing reminded me, or I guess that's what we experienced quite a bit in Prairie. But anyway, let's get to it. Over on the east side of the map in the color blue, playing as the Japanese, we've got Fei-chan. And on the west side of the map in the color teal, playing as the English, we've got our Chinese friend. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a casted game. It's a pleasure to have your company. If you're enjoying this content, make sure you go ahead, hit the like button, as it really helps out the traction of the videos. And let's get into it. We've been casting a lot of Fei games recently. She's been rising up the ladder, currently sitting at rank number 33. I tell you what, I'm impressed. That is a pretty damn high rank. About 2k rating, which is pretty crazy considering she was about 1600 not too long ago. Her opponent here going to be sitting at about 1800 rating, so still relatively close together in the rankings, but Fei slightly ahead in that race to number one. You know, I think that's one of the big things I'd love to see when it comes to Age of Empires 4, because when it comes to improvements for Age of Empires 4, like realistically, I've got a list that is as long as 4 of my arms, and that's with 10-point font. But I think one of the things I would really like to see would be the way that StarCraft do rankings, but for Age of Empires 4. And what do I mean by that? Well, let me explain. So once you reach Conqueror 3, and I know that this is only a problem really for about, what, maybe a percentage of players, maybe even less than a percentage of players, but once you reach Conqueror 3, there's really not much goal other than to just kind of like, keep climbing up the ladder or keep playing it if you're enjoying it. And a lot of people are goal driven, like myself included. So when I find I just hit Conqueror 3 and that's it, I just kind of stop playing. But I think one of the big things that sort of drives a lot of StarCraft players, because I've been watching a bit of StarCraft content, because as you guys will know, Stormgate's coming out and StarCraft is pretty similar to that. One of the things that happens is as you reach that top echelon, you're now fighting for the actual ranking position within the game. And it gives you a nice little number, which is cool when you think about it, right? Like, imagine it, it's just one of those little things where at the end of the game, you get to see a new number pop up. And I think that's one of the small little details that could help drive Conqueror 3 players especially to play a little bit more and compete a little bit more at that top level. But we'll worry about that later, because we've got age ups already starting to come through. Over on the English side, the Council Hall has been thrown down. On the east side of the map, you can only suspect that Fei is going to be looking to throw down the landmark that we see every single day. Of course, it's going to be that Kura storehouse. Where does she put it, though? I think you could probably just get away with it just right here. It's a pretty easy spot. Looks like she might be going for the wood line, though. She's walled off before and made it pretty comfy. Looks like that's exactly what she's going to be looking for here. Has the space, 2 tiles in between the town center, so she's got rings of farms. One of the things I wouldn't be surprised if she does is if she just like puts a single wall segment down here over on this position, because we've seen her on the Japanese before, and she was obviously, I'm not going to say the one that pioneered it, but definitely the first person I saw that did this, where you've got a wall segment that actually blocks out the farm being placed, so that subsequently the next farm, instead of going at the 9 o'clock position, comes up at the 10 o'clock position, a little bit closer to the town center. And that's nice. That's a nice little touch. We'll have to wait and see, though, whether she goes about doing that. Over on the other side, though, we're right on board with our English player, as it looks like we're going to have aggression out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm always excited when it's going to be an aggressive opening, but I think the question is, how many units do we actually see? Because when it comes to this matchup, I feel like Fast Castle is the way you've got to do it. As the Japanese, Fast Castle is by far your best strategy, at least in the current meta. I don't think anything really comes close to that. 2TC in particular feels a little bit too slow, just because of how good that floating gate is. And by the same token, I'd love to see the English player look for it. Oh my god, what is with my changing of perspectives? Not the best. But on the English side, I would love to see just a handful of units here, maybe just a single spear, even a single longbow or 2 longbows. Come through, look to try and deny gold, be a little bit annoying, but then go Castle Age behind it. And I think that you can probably just go for the King's Palace. I think that's absolutely fine, because it is a fast castle. The alternative is obviously that you go for the White Tower, but to be honest, I don't think you've got the justification to go for White Tower, just because you really don't have the economy to support it. Technically, you can actually support a White Tower off one base opening up like this, but it's not going to leave much room for anything else. You're not going to see too many upgrades. You're not going to be seeing a second town center, that sort of stuff. Now, looks like Fei has aged up. Not going to be putting down that wood, that palisade wall to block out this farm, and this could be a bit of an issue, because she's got a fair bit of sheep on the way through, but this farm, you want to try and take advantage of it as soon as you can. And, well, the longbows should be able to come through and reach. And now we do see the outpost is going to be looking to pick up that upgrade to get those arrow slits in a little bit. He's on the top of the hill. Keep that in mind. Rather, she's on top of the hill. And, well, the arrow slits now almost taking out that scout. What is going on right here? Did you just see that? I swear that scout was about to die. Somehow there are a couple of arrows when the scout's all the way down here. And that range is only coming through. Longbow will go down, so it's just going to be 2 longbows on the field at the moment and a spearman. Slowly and steadily, Faye continues to gather up resources. Going to throw down a second outpost as well, and I got to say, I really respect this. Such a smart move from Faye now, because with this, she's going to be able to utilize the extra stone that is coming through from this gold gathering to throw down that extra arrow slit, get a little bit of extra range. Means you don't have to idle out your workers as much. Really, really smart move. And you can see she's trying to get the resources to actually get that extra arrow slit in. And this is just one of those things that synergize so well with the Japanese going into that fast castle strategy. Now, in the middle of the map, it looks like we may have ourselves a dock being thrown down. 5 villagers here as well, which is quite a lot, especially when there's really not a lot of fish in the middle. I'd rather just leave this food for my fishing boats. But not going to be happening here, as the English player does look to move plenty of villagers there. Longbow towards that top side. Villagers on the berries, now going to have to move back towards the sheep. But I think Faye will be happy with that. She's managed to get a fair bit of food in off that. Only really about 1 berry bush that is remaining. Keep in mind, she did actually pick up the first level of her wheelbarrow as well. You can see she's doing well at cycling these villagers around, making sure that they're not in difficult positions where they're getting hit by those longbows. And you can see right on the edge of the town center radius is that single longbow, just being annoying. Over on the other side of the map, though, there are plenty of workers on gold for our English player. Upgrades are starting to come through. Have a look at this. We've picked up the specialized pick early on in this game. Now, there's no mill down, but where are all these villagers? Apparently, there's 19 villagers on food. Okay, there's obviously the 11 under the town center and then a whole bunch of villas in the middle. So that's going to be it. So far, though, pretty decent opening from this English player. I'd be happy with it if it was going the way that, if I was playing as the English right now, I'd be pretty happy with this. And you can see, oh, we might have ourselves a little bit of a problem. Have a look at this. Faye may have to think about sticking down on the other side of this gold vein a forge. She's got the resources to do it. And have a look at this. Our English player might actually be up to the castle age ahead of Faye. A little bit of miss macro here, but I think this is just the consequence of being pushed off balance, I think is probably the best way to say it. Being pushed off balance by your opponent here. One of the things to note is that whenever you're up against longbows like this, they have a way of forcing your villagers to go to places that you really don't want them to go. Obviously, Faye was quite happy being out here on the berries, quite happy being on the straggler trees, but did get forced off those quite early on. Stables coming up. Expect to see a horseman out shortly. Checking in on the other side of the map, though, we're right on board with our English player as the age up's about to come through. Should be the King's Palace, and ideally should be on a deer hunt. This is a good little spot down here, but it's kind of far away. I don't know if you could really justify it. Might have to think about maybe throwing it up on this top side. Let's see where these villas go. They're going to go on the bottom side. They're going to go for the White Tower. Okay. So this is definitely a possibility, but one of the things to note is that if you're going White Tower and you want full production, you're not going to be able to afford Monastery. You're not going to be able to afford the Monk on the back of it. And obviously the Japanese player is going to be picking those up for free. So you'll need to think about that. But ideally with the White Tower, what we want to be doing is looking to get a couple of knights out early. But just remember, you're up against mounted samurai, and those are significantly stronger than your knight because they are going to neutralize all that damage coming through from your charge. And that is a lot of damage. So it means that you're probably going to have to run spears, and it means that you're probably going to be very difficultly engaging those mounted samurai. So we'll see how well Faye can do when it comes to controlling those units, but it looks like we've got that floating gate on the backside now. Age ups coming through at the exact same timing. Have a look at this. You got 9 workers on the White Tower, started a little bit earlier, 11 on the floating gate. Should be finishing a little bit earlier. And so far, so good from both of these players. A pretty pixel-perfect game. No villagers lost at this stage. No unforced errors, which is always great to see. And the age up's coming through a little bit after the 9th minute for both of these players by the looks of it. Have a look at this. Within seconds of each other, the floating gate will now complete for Faye. And on the other side of the map, it's going to be the White Tower that comes up, I think, almost within the exact same second. That is how close these two players are currently sitting. First, Yoroshiro into the stable immediately. Now that Shinto priest is going to be coming out to pick up the very first relic. But have a look at this. I don't think Faye's ready for it. She's beginning to move down. The outpost provides a pretty decent coverage, but the mounted samurai... Oh, look at this. She's waiting for the mounted samurai. So smart, Faye. So patient as well. Can I just remark on that patience? And now we do see, indeed, single spear is on the backside. Going to look to try and focus the spear down. Shinto priest does manage to pick up the relic and will take it out of here. Looking to try and keep that spear alive. As long as she's not paying attention, the spear will get pretty decent value, but you can see the consequence of being close to your enemy's base here and far away from your own reinforcements. Exactly what is happening right now. Faye is just going to start picking this army to pieces. Some nice early trades here for Faye. And remember that she's going to be able to heal up these units on the backside here. So all of these mounted samurai will get healed up by the Shinto priest. Once they've dropped the relic, though, keep that in mind. So ideally, you want to throw that relic into your Shinto shrine as quickly as possible. That's exactly what we've got coming through. Upgrade starting to head on through as well to Tara. The first melee upgrade coming through for Fei Chen. She's got 4 mounted samurai on the field. And have a look at this. It's actually going to be crossbows that are coming out on the White Tower. And this is where I think maybe going for the King's Palace was the correct choice in this situation, just because what does the White Tower really give you? You can make crossbows from your council hall anyway. And sure, you can make them from both, but the reality is at this stage early on, you don't need the production. Your economy is nowhere near high enough to support this level of production. We've already got 5 production facilities out now for our English player, and that King's Palace slowly becomes a much greater choice. And I think there was actually it's been a couple of days, I'll say that much, since we posted the video about the King's Palace that was a mistake. I tell you what, the King's Palace would not have been a mistake in this game, that is for sure. But you see in the middle of the map, looks like the English player is looking to try and get a galley out. It will happen. The mounted samurai working it down. Galley moves to the west side here. Could look for a demo ship as well, but I don't even think a demo ship's going to be able to do enough damage. I just hope that for the demo ship... Oh, unfortunate. Very good timing right there. Faye going to be a little bit upset that she's lost that Yorishiro, or rather the Shinto priest. But it's okay. She's got another one. Don't worry. They just keep on spawning. There's the forge thrown down and does the right thing. Doesn't put it in a forge on the front, which is exposed. Puts it in a forge on the back, which is nice, tucked away. We can see now in the middle of the map, the galley. Faye trying to torch it down. Another relic is going to be taken here. Shinto priest. That is a 3rd Shinto priest. How many have we got? I think that must have been a Shinto priest that got trained. I'm 99% sure. Yeah, that 2-minute mark is only just crossed, so that is definitely the case. So it was a trained Shinto priest, but now in the middle of the map, looks like the remnants of the shoreline fish will have to stay there. Crossbows are coming through now. The numbers are starting to build as well, moving into those spearman crossbow combo. Need to be really careful of the Onibageisha. We've seen it time and time again here from the Japanese. It's starting to look like a really strong strategy. Essentially, the way that it works is this. Faye opens with mounted samurai. She gets them out onto the map, looks to try and keep her opponent in the base. Avoid fights. Make sure she stays away from any crossbows or spears where possible, and try and take out as many villagers as she can. Meanwhile, the English player is going to look to build up those spearmen, those crossbow numbers, try and get them high, but remember that they are infantry. They are not really that mobile. They don't have that speed that the mounted samurai have got. And then while that's happening, she's going to start building up Onibageisha, which do very effectively against both of these units. The Onibageisha absolutely destroys the spearmen, and once it gets on top of the crossbow, it will do the exact same thing to them. But have a look at this. Look, wait, is Faye playing against a... He knows, okay, he knows the relic is gone. That's why I was wondering, how does he know to move exactly in that angle? Look at this, she's tucked away inside the trees. She's really dodging this army right now, and maybe that's just her spider sense is just tingling right now, but I feel like we are watching people that just know where each other's units are. I'm not going to make any accusations right now, but geez Louise, that looked a little bit suspect from both sides there, didn't it? Is it just me? Another relic goes down on the south side. This time it's going to be the English monk that gets lost. Shinto priest picks it up. That's going to be 4 in the bag now for Faye. 1 on the side of her opponent. So a very nice opening here. And I think that's just the consequence of not opening into knights. I think probably in this matchup, if we saw this at the super high level, you know, Conqueror 3 plus level, I'm just going to start referring to that as the Conqueror 4 level. Because even, to be honest, Faye's kind of at that level now. But I suspect if the English player was Conqueror 4, what we would be seeing is the way that this would work is that you'd have the mounted samurai, you'd have the knights out. I think the knights would avoid fighting the mounted samurai, and they would only just be looking to pick off those Shinto priests. I think that's the only way that you could play it. And you'd have like maybe 3 or 4 out and just 2 on one side of the map, 2 on the other side of the map, not looking to fight any particular units. Have a look at this though. They're going to be losing out quite a few villagers here. Also going to be maybe losing another Shinto priest. That's another one that goes down. That is quite a few that's gone down this game. 3 relics in the bag back here, but Faye losing out 5 villagers. Not to mention there are 5 still inside this outpost. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, second town center will come up here for our English player. But I tell you what, that's going to be 10 workers that take a long time for Faye to start getting back up on the horse with. Have a look at that deficit. 40 to 51. That's 10 workers lost in the blink of an eye. Unfortunate occurrence here for Faye. Quite a number of units that are down here as well will be quite effective against those mounted samurai. And Faye's going to continue building with the mounted samurai at this stage. Does throw down the archery range. Now, I'm hoping that she's not going to move into Onimusha again, but it looks like she will. She's used these units before to great effect when her opponent was in the feudal age. We did see that map, I think, or that game on Dry Arabia, where Faye actually utilized only the Onimusha to just absolutely destroy her opponent with that slightly longer range. In this situation, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but at the end of the day, if it works, I'm not going to question it. I'll let her cook. Meanwhile, Relic on this south side is going to get secured. Plenty of Shinto priests coming out. You can see plenty of buffs have been thrown down here. The mounted samurai will survive that one volley. Second attack will come through. Nice little bit of micro coming out now from Faye. She's looking to try and surround these units. Definitely not enough spears here. We can say that much for certain. And unfortunately for our English player, I suspect all of these crossbows are long gone. They are absolutely gone. A little bit of a focus here on the Uma Bannerman. Banner will be dropped down, but those crossbows, unfortunately, just not enough legs on them. And they are also going to be going the way of the Dodo. We'll check in on that north side of the map as Faye, or this is more the west side of the map, as Faye looks to strike. She's taken out 4 workers so far. If she can take out a couple more, she'll be feeling good about herself. With that second town center coming down, though. Is that a third town center? Oh my lord, that's 3 TCs coming down now. Our English player is really looking to push the pedal to the metal. Now, this is actually a pretty smart move. He knows that he took out 10 of Faye's villages. So he's got a pretty good eco league, which means that Faye probably wants to go into a second TC herself. But it also means that because Faye has lost those 10 villages, that Faye probably wants to go into a third TC. So what's the move from the English? Match the third TC. And that's exactly what we see happening on the other side of the map. Second TC for Faye, and the third TC is coming down for Faye right now. So this English player is 100% on the ball, knows what is happening right now. Leaves a little bit to be desired with regard to like knights and controlling them and, you know, taking out Shinto priests, carrying relics, but look, I'll chalk that one up to maybe a little bit of first Drongo cast nerves. We'll chalk it up on that one. Anyway, at this stage, a couple of villages do go down. We do see them on the wood line, going the way of the Dodo. But plenty of mounted samurai also going to be going down as well. Faye slowly closing that gap when it comes to the villager count. And have a look at the number of mounted samurai that are out here right now. This is quite a large amount of mounted samurai, and Faye really just committing 100% here to this idea. Now, the Spearman still yet to receive veterancy upgrade. Now, to be fair, the English player wasn't really making a lot of Spearmen. There was only like a handful. I think there was 5 or 6 at most I remember seeing in a battle. So it's not like it's really that important to upgrade them to veterancy. But I will say this. In this matchup, you need Spearmen. You need a lot of Spearmen. You want a lot of Spearmen. It just makes sense to have it. Such an effective unit, but remember that the Samurai is quite effective against it. But typically, your Japanese opponent isn't going to be looking at Samurai early, maybe later on. So the Japanese have got a very similar strategy to the Chinese in that they can go Imperial and then just push into their men-at-arm unit, maxed upgraded, and then just win the game doing that. There's a difference in the way that they play. Like for the Chinese, they go into their palace guards and they just kind of rampage through your base. Whereas with the Japanese, they go Imperial, they've got Odachi already, but they just get their elite upgrades, get Oda Tactics, which is their elite army tactics replacement, gives them a little bit of extra torch damage. And that alone, nice little wall here, and that alone will just enable you to absolutely overwhelm your opponent. Sacred Sites now taken for Fei Chan. She's going to have plenty of gold trickling into her coffers. We've got 125. Is it 125 or 150? I'm pretty sure it's 125 for the Delhi Sultanate. I think it's 150 still for everybody else, isn't it? So 300 gold a minute, not to mention the 4 relics, so push that up from 300 to 600 gold a minute. And then the Yoroshiros, we've got 1, 2, and a third one. I don't know where it is, but I suspect it's probably in a forge somewhere. We do see there's one in the stable. I'm looking. I don't see it. Where is it? It's definitely out here. Oh, it's in the archery range. It's a bit hard to see on that angle. There you go. But it is in the archery range. So I expect her to probably look to delete that as we move longer into this game. She will look to try and get herself a little bit more production, naturally. Will happen, but until that moment, it's going to take some time. Have a look at this, though. On that north side, the attack does get shut down. Not going to be seeing those mounted samurai around for much longer. When it comes to the economies, let's compare the pair. You're looking at about 1,000, 2,400 income per minute coming in for the English player on the side of Faye. quite a bit more than that, a significant amount more than that, 2,000, 3,000, 3,500 coming through for Faye. That's kind of wild considering they have the same villager count. That's all that extra gold coming through from the Yorishiro, from the sacred sites, and of course from the relics. A huge amount of gold, and now those veterancy spearmen finally getting that upgrade through. The Onimusha on the back are slowly picking away at them, but I suspect this is probably going to be a relatively easy fight here for our English defenders, as this is the composition that you want to be running against what Faye is throwing out. And to be honest, it's kind of wild that Faye thought she could just walk in here and have no problems because, well, hold your horses right now. Spearmen are attacking a lot of the Shinto priests. Ideally, we want them to be focusing down the Mounted Samurai. Now, pulling them back, allowing the Mounted Samurai to move forward. The Spearmen are able to surround. And this is a pretty easy defense here from our English player. I don't think there were too many sweats dripping down the face of him. We can say that much for sure. Upgrades starting to come through for him as well. Keep in mind that Faye's already picked up all of her +2s. Meanwhile, our English player doesn't have a single upgrade to their name. Now, one of the other things to note is the Onimusha does have a slight range advantage, 5.5 tiles over the crossbowmen compared to that 5 tiles. So that is one other factor to consider in these fights, that if Faye's micro is good enough, technically she can out-micro the crossbows, but it'll be very, very hard to do that. Meanwhile, over on that east side of the map, Faye's added a 4th town center, because why the hell not? Your opponent's added 3 TCs. Well, it's always important just to go that one step further, isn't it, Faye? That's exactly what she does. Forge now going to be coming down. Nice little spot for a forge. Unfortunately, it's just, or should I say unfortunately, it's a... oh, Lord. It's 1 tile away from the stone outcropping. You hate to see it, but look, it's one of those things that just happens. It just happens sometimes. You know, you're in the moment, you see gold, and you throw down the forge. Imperial Age is still going to be a way off for both of these players as the push now starting to come to shove. Faye, after seeing this amount of crossbows, should probably be thinking, should be registering into her head, mangonel time, mangonel time, mangonel time. And one of the best things you can do when you've got that mangonel, or that mangonel time, is look to just, well, hold your horses right now. We got ourselves a whole bunch of cavalry. It's the cav-only composition coming out from Faye. Looks like she's going to be just doing an absolute work on the front line here. Teeing off towards those spears. The numbers are really starting to build up for her. She has brought in 1 on a Begatia, an archer as well, a single archer. I can't help but feel like these may have just been mistakes. And no need for mangonels when you got this many horsemen. Keep in mind, they do get buffed up quite a bit here by that extra damage coming out from the Uma Benaman. The Uma Benaman going to be providing a nice little 15% bonus to all cavalry damage, including the range damage of the Onimusha, which is very nice because basically it buffs them up to the same damage as the crossbowmen. But still, those numbers are looking pretty decent for her. Have a look at the army value as well. Now, keep in mind, there are some units that don't have their value included. So these longbows, as an example, they are missing out on, I think it's 50 value from their wood that is not being added in there. But at the moment, it looks like about double the military score. Well, not military score, but army value coming through. And now looking to chase away a couple of spears. I would say a mangonel here might actually be wise from both of these players. From the English side, a mangonel to deal with the Onimusha. And from Faye's side, I mean, this composition is pretty nice that she's got running at the moment. But a mangonel could do very well just against these crossbows. Soften them all up for the Onimusha to deal with. Meanwhile, towards the base. Beautiful base building that we've got happening right now from the English player. Have a look at this. Everything nice and tight. I feel like I'm watching... Like, have a look at how tight this is. This is just really something extra that we are seeing. I just want to fill these in with a couple of houses, though. That would be nice. Just from the aesthetics perspective, please. Feel like I'm watching myself play Total Annihilation when I'm 9 years old. Everything must be perfect. Everything must be square. Well, yeah, this is one of those cases where the English base builder is actually also an obsessive compulsive disorder or ADHD. We'll give him either of those diagnoses. He can take both. We'll let him. Anyway, treatments are significantly different, though. We'll say that much. Have a look at this. Woodline, needing a little bit of help. I'm not going to call the macro police because you guys know the rules. But I tell you what, if you'd like to check out the macro police, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to improve. Make sure you check out the Patreon. Plenty of coaching content out there, but let's worry about this right now because we've got ourselves a little bit of action breaking out on this South Sacred site. It's very important that Faye holds it if she wants to go for that sacred victory, but there's no keep down here. At least you wouldn't expect there to be a keep down here because the Japanese don't have access to keep stronger. They've got access to castles, and they come online in no, not the castle age, in the Imperial Age, as all good castles come online in. Why are the castles in the Imperial Age and not the Castle Age? I don't know. You're gonna have to ask Relic about that one. That is a decision that I did not get to have any influence on. I can say that much. But yeah, that's kind of wild, isn't it? When you think about it, doesn't make sense. Doesn't make. They're called castles. Why they not in the castle age? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't even know who I'm imitating then. I think I'm imitating my friend Jesse when he's imitating me. I think that's what I was just imitating. Oh, gosh. Anyway, let's check back in on the side of Faye. How's that food economy coming along? Looking pretty good. 2,400 a minute. Not too bad. We're rounding up a little. No, we're not. We're rounding down. It was 2,401. I saw it for a split second. That is a pretty decent-sized economy that's coming through from Faye. She's got plenty of villagers to support her. Still down 2 villagers despite having 1 more town center. I don't know exactly how you managed to do that. Maybe just not training villagers or something like that. But she does reach both of these players on maximum population, though technically Faye needs to put 1 more house down to reach her maximum population. But 190 out of 190, I'll call it pretty much max. Have a look at this. The spearman numbers are starting to look pretty fierce here, and this is where the mangonel is just going to be so helpful, because the micro that's coming through from Faye is looking really good. Longbows getting mixed in are going to be the difference in this matchup and could help her out up against these Onimusha. Keep in mind the Onimusha don't have any ranged armor, so it's going to mean they do take that full damage coming through from the longbows. But I'd love to see +2s coming through. It's only now 26 minutes. The wheelbarrow technology comes in. Are we watching? Is it? Who gets the really late wheelbarrow? Vortex? Yeah, Vortex. It's Vortex. Vortex coming in with a 26-minute wheelbarrow right now. That's what it feels like. Look at this Imperial Age, though. Have a look at this. We might... He's max population as well, so he could definitely think about going it for it. Whole bunch of units now thrown down in the queue, looking to reinforce this position. Faye says we're going to commit. All the cavalry on the front side get met with a hard line of spears. Slowly but steadily, the spears fall on the back. The Onimusha just taking them out 1 by 1. No need for archers when you've just got these full DPS Onimusha. Have a look at that. The spears overwhelming and now thrown down on the front line. You know what it's going to be, baby. It is that Berkshire. Get it out. Woof, woof. Or should I say bark, bark? Depends on where you're from as to what your onomatopoeia for dogs will be. But I guess for me, it's woof, woof. We don't really use bark, bark. I know that in Iran, they use hoop, hoop. Yep, I'm not even kidding you. They use hop, hop. That is their onomatopoeia for dogs. But for now, we'll go with the North American Berkshire. It's time, baby. Oh, look at that beautiful timing. All the backs. Whoa, it's a double age up. They've aged up at the exact same time for both Castle Age and Imperial Age. Wow, that's actually wild in this game to see. And now the Berkshire fires off towards that first line of defense. Wow, that's kind of crazy when you think about it. How in tune these two players are to each other. Castle Age coming through at the exact same second, and then Imperial Age at the exact same second as well. I don't know. Am I making a big deal of it? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? That's my job. I'm the hype man, baby. Enclosures coming through. Now we've got those, I was going to say Odachi, but these are not Odachi, these are Ozutsu coming through, teeing off towards the back line. Not a whole lot of them, so we'll watch out for them. But the Elite Samurai look like they have joined the field. You got to be so careful. And look at how quickly she switched. The tech switch, so damn quick, I didn't even realize. She's gone from mass cavalry all the way to infantry, longbows and crossbows being chased away. Meanwhile, in the base, the spearmen are going for a little bit of a chase. Not going to be able to find too much success here as the Shogunate Castle looks to slowly but steadily deal with those units. Onimusha looking to chase them down. And now more units make their way to the fore. The Japanese are going to have to face a very angry Berkshire if they want to make it any further forward. There's a nice little gold vein out here, not to mention we've also got that sacred site, which should be captured for a little bit of a gold bonus. Don't mind if I do. And let's check in with the economies. Both players sitting at a pretty comfortable 134, 127 villages at the moment. Keep in mind, Faye has got that extra gold generation coming through. Not only does she have the sacred site, not only does she have 3 more relics, but she also has Yoroshiros in the bank, and expect to see some upgrades now coming through from that Shinto shrine. You know what that means? That means that we have got ourselves extra Yoroshiros, baby. 5 Yoroshiros. Come on, count them for me. Deleting all the production here. Look at that. She actually deleted them. She's like, you know what? I'm not going to make any mistakes this game. I don't want to make archers. I don't want to make cavalry. All I'm doing, I'm going infantry. Oh my lord, am I going infantry? Oh my lord. I tell you what, that tech switch is incredibly unforgiving. That is insane how much damage that tech switch was able to do there, because you could just see that the English opponent was not ready for that. Castle thrown down on the north side, pretty close here to the north base of that little pond in the middle. And now Samurais with their Odachi coming through. Still yet to pick up Oda tactics. We do see on the side of the English elite army tactics will be coming through. Plenty of damage against these men-at-arms. 14 attack compared to the Samurai, which have got 21 attack, not to mention the extra 4 attack, which is 25 against their infantry counterparts. Stone walls coming up across this top side. It looks like Faye's trying to find a way through. Going to have difficulty looking for it. Has she picked up that extra little bit of... I'm looking for it. Yes, she has. She's got siege engineering. So it means that we could potentially see a little bit of a counterattack over on that west side. How is her opponent going to deal with it? You can see the infantry have been now spotted out as they move towards that gate. I suspect battering rams will be thrown down very, very quickly. Oh, wait, Ozutsu. Can Ozutsu fire at stone walls? I don't even know the answer to that question, but I think we're about to find out. Outposts starting to come up behind enemy lines. The outpost gets obliterated in half a second. I'll be honest. I don't think Ozutsu should be able to shoot through walls. I don't think that should be happening. Meanwhile, on the front, have a look at this. The English player looking to commit veterancy on the longbows, elite status on the crossbows. The first of the bombards come out, second one in training at the moment. Now looking to tee off on the backside. I'd love to see a Randy or two coming out. That would help. With these elite crossbows, you shouldn't have too much of an issue. And now that outpost gets a little bit of extra oomph. Battering ram's going to come down here. Could also technically look... Actually, can you even use siege towers with the new gates? I don't think you can. So just going to have to work through those gates the good old-fashioned way with battering rams. Now, this is a threat right now that needs to be addressed. You have to address this threat. If you do not address this problem right now, you are going to lose the game, because if these units make it into your base, you're not going to be able to repair your economy in time. Now, granted, we've got a beautiful fight that's happening over here, but you need to remember, you're up against Faye with 20+ barracks, with 3,000+ food per minute, rallying units into this. She's got economies for days. Meanwhile, on this side of the map, we need... Okay, it's going to be a keep that gets thrown down. Is boiling oil in at least? Boiling oil's not in. Reinforcements can't even look to support this because not enough units are dying on the front. You need to keep taking the fight. You need to make sure you're trading out those units. And now behind the enemy lies a little bit of an issue, because Faye has broken into the base. She's looking to play this game the way that I don't like to play it. She's not going toe-to-toe with her opponent on the front line. Instead, looking to take a fight around the other way. Keep is going to come up, but now the village is also going to get worked down. Expect to see that number rise very quickly. 20, 30 workers taken out in the blink of an eye. Look at that number, how quickly it builds. Look at that villager difference as well. And this right here is the game-winning move from Faye. She's got plenty of infantry inside the opponent's base, and it all just comes down to not respecting the face of the battering ram, which really just tore through that position. And immediately, we see the keep go down. It's almost as soon as it came up, it went down. Meanwhile, on the front, there's no siege here. Faye, unfortunately, has more than enough ways to deal with it if it was going to happen, but you can just see that the English player wishes there was siege, and now not respecting this attack on the backside means the Onnobogeishi, together with the samurai, just run rampant through this base. Oda Tactics has come through a little bit more health on these samurai, and slowly they clean up the forces. The villager counts dropped by 40, by 50. Holy dooly. Good luck. I think this might be it. I don't think there was enough respect given to this push. Look at the bombards. Why are there 5 bombards out? Where did the bombards... Oh, she probably just used her tickets, right? 4 barrels? Is that what it takes? I'll take it. I thought they used to be tickets, but now they're barrels. I'll trade you 4 barrels of my finest beer for a bombard. That seems like a fair trade. Maybe you're alcoholic. Maybe you like that. Hey, come on, Drongo. We shouldn't joke about that. Maybe you like alcohol. There we go. That's the correct way to say it, Drongo. Maybe you're a fan of alcohol. Maybe you like beer. But now, 5 bombards teeing off against the greatest defensive landmark of our time. Underneath it, we see the samurai together with the Onnobogeishi tearing through the men-at-arms and crossbows. There's barely enough units here to deal with the front, let alone the back. And I'm starting to worry. Looks like our English player may be on his last legs. Slowly working down all the barracks, all of the production that's here on the front will be going down shortly. And as the barracks go down, the lilies rise up. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure casting this game. A beautiful defense there from Faye, demonstrating just how well to play it when you're on that offense. Really nice switch in. Amazing tech switch. Honestly, that was incredible. Go check her out. I'll leave links in the description. And of course, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.